What's up, my YouTube people? Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I really want to apologize for some time now. I've not been posting, I've not really been active, but I'm back now online again, and you'll be hearing from me from time to time, right? So, quickly, we just want to jump into the charts. Want to see want to do a top-down analysis on Gbpusd, right? So we're going to be doing our top-down analysis right from the monthly time frame to the weekly to the daily to the 4 hours to the 1 hour down to 15 minute time frame where we're going to be getting our entry, right? That's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm basically going to show you guys how I approach my own top-down analysis, right? My own simple, very, very simple approach, step-by-step approach. I'm just going to be following structure. Basically, we're going to be following the structure from the monthly down to the 15 minutes down till we get our entry, right? So just stick around, stick around, stick around. There are a lot of things you're going to learn from this, trust me, and you're going to see how simple it is. Very, very easy. Top down analysis is not complicated at all. Very, very easy. Just stick around, and you're gonna trust me, you're gonna grab something from this, right? GBPUSD top down analysis right from the monthly to the 15-minute time frame. So please do well to support me, subscribe to my channel, turn on the post notifications so you get notified whenever I drop a breakdown video like this or a top down video like this or an educational content, whatever it is I'm dropping, you'll be the first to know that I've dropped it. And let's grow together in this space, right? Let's grow together. So let's get into it. Let's get into the charts. All right, so straight into the charts, we have GBP said we're going to be doing this top down analysis right from the monthly time frame. Okay, so on our monthly chart over here, this is just basically how I do my top down analysis. Very, very simple, very, very easy. What can you see? GBP USD is on a downtrend, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to mark my breaks of structures to the downside, since we've already identified that we are on a downtrend on GBP USD on the monthly time frame, right? So this is our first break of structure over here. This is the second break of structure over here. You can label it break of structure. The third break of structure called over here. That was the third break of structure. Now you know that a valid break of structure has to break with a body candle close. So this was a week. That's why we didn't stop here. We had to drag the break of structure all the way to this point where it closed with a body candle close, right? A candle body close. All right, so that is the first thing we're going to identify for this top-down analysis. We want to know what the structure of the market is. Is it an uptrend? Is it a downtrend? Or is this scenario it's a downtrending market? So what are we looking for? We're looking for sales on the monthly time frame. This is the swing structure. Swing structure is simply the higher time frame structure, right? So the last set of highs, they want to just identify our swing highs and swing lows, basically after marking your swing structures, right? So the swing high and swing lows will be this. This is our swing high, swing low. Next swing high was here. Next swing low was here. Next swing high was supposed to be here. Then the next swing low was here, right? So we're expecting a swing high, then another swing low, continue to ride bias to the downside, right? So now that we've established our breaks of structures, we've established that it's a downtrend, we've established our swing highs and swing lows, what is the next thing we are going to do? We're going to mark out our supply zones. How are we marking out the supply zones? Because we are on a downtrend on GBP USD on the monthly time frame, right? So we're going to be marking out the supply zone. So the most recent supply zone that actually broke structure to the downside was supposed to be over here, right? But we can see that price has already mitigated the supply zone over here. So we're going to be working with the fresh area of supply zone, right? And how do we mark our supply zone now? How we mark our supply zone is the last bullish candle before the bearish impulse to the downside, right? The last buy candle before the sell moves to the downside. So that was why I marked over here. And we saw that price is yet to mitigate the supply zone. Now, what am I expecting? I'm expecting that when price eventually mitigates this supply zone over here, we want to see a pull down to continue the sell, right? So price is on a pullback, buy, right? A pullback buy, buying to the supply zone so that we can continue the sell, because we already know that the trend is downtrend, right? The market is selling. Okay. So it's just that simple. This is what we have on the monthly time frame. So this is all the swing structure, because this is our last swing high and this is our last swing low over here. Now, the fractal structure is that structure that you're spotting within the swing high and the swing low. So this is a fractal structure. Whatever happened within this swing high and swing low is a fractal structure, right? So we're anticipating another swing high over here, then a new swing low, right? Taking out this particular low. So this is the low we are looking to take out. This will be like our sell side liquidity, or let's just in this for this case we'll call it our target, because we're expecting that when price taps into that supply, we'll be selling down to take out this low. So that's our low target. That's our low target, right? So now we have not yet mitigated the supply zone, and the fractal structure is still pretty much what bullish. So despite we know that on the swing we are looking for sells, on the fractal we are bullish. So we're going to be riding the buys until the sell starts, right? But we're still on the monthly time frame. Now we're going to drop a bit lower to the weekly. Going to the weekly time frame now over here. On the weekly time frame, you can see over here, after this break of structure I've spotted over here, you can see that uh we had a break of structure over here to the downside, had a little break of structure over here to the downside. We're going to acknowledge it. Then we had the break of structure to the upside right over here, right? So this break of structure to the upside was going to be called our shift of market structure, SMS in this case, right? So after we saw that SMS, we began to see that price continue to buy and buy and buy and buy back to the upside. Now, if you go back to the monthly time frame, right, this was where the SMS occurred. So that SMS occurred, we had a mitigation. There was another break of structure here. There's another break of structure over here. We had a mitigation right here. This probably this particular candle, there was a mitigation over there, so we're not working with that. Then we saw another fresh break of structure over here, right? And after this break of structure, we saw price came back, pulled back to mitigate this particular other block. We know that that's another block, right? After it has grabbed this structural liquidity over here, grab the structural liquidity over here, and then it mitigated the other block, and we saw other break of structure to the upside, right? Still on the monthly time frame, mind you. Sorry for that break of structure to the upside, still on the monthly time frame, mind you. So we are quite bullish on this fractal. We're quite bullish, right? So where are we expecting price to buy from? Now we can see that there is an FVG over here. All these places, efficient price action. The only inefficient price action was over here, where we spotted an FVG, right? So this is the FVG over here, a fair value gap, right? And so that price this month, this is this month's candle, this particular candle is November candle. November candle dug into the FVG, and we can see that retracement to the upside. You can see that buy pressure, right? It's giving us a pin bar, right? If it closes as a pin bar, probably November closes above this open, above this open. Not that the next candle is going to be anticipating something like a morning star or whatever. But basically, you know that we are in for buys, right? Just observe what happened over here, right? You know that we have a morning star candle over here, and we are anticipating that morning star, something similar to that morning star might be what is forming over here again. Do you understand? This morning star that bought price all the way to the upside is also anticipating that's going to happen. So probably the month of December or the month of January, depending on how the market goes, we might continue to buy to the upside, right? Giving us, if you want to follow this pattern, right? So that's all about that. Back to the chart. So we saw this FVG. We know that price is likely to price at taking liquidity, right? This was liquidity grab. All these lows was liquidity grab. And it filled that FVG and it's on its way back to the upside. Right? Now we drop down to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, for those people that are familiar with key levels, you will know that this is an open close key level over here. So it's another confluence to buy price. After price has tapped this weekly key level, this will be the weekly key level, which is a weekly support area, right? So after price has tapped the weekly key level, you can see the reactions. It's already trying to buy to the upside. You see the weak rejections and all that. Then when I dropped to the daily time frame, when I dropped to the daily time frame, so sorry, when I dropped to the daily time frame, guess what I saw? Guess what I saw? So a very, very clean breaker block, right? So if you need me to make a video on breaker block, I will just let me know in the comments. I'll make a video on breaker block because this is not, I don't want this video to be very long, so I can't just start explaining it basically. So, but if you know or if you are familiar with breaker blocks, I'm just going to delete the FBG and the key level because we have seen something to work with on daily. If you are familiar with breaker blocks, you know that this is a very good breaker block, right? I'll just label it breaker block immediately and price dog into the breaker block. This is a daily time frame, right? This is on the daily time frame. Price dog into the breaker block after it has grabbed liquidity. If you notice, you see that this is equal low liquidity, right? Price has grabbed equal low liquidity, tapped into the breaker block, and we are seeing that morning star forming over here. You know the candlestick patterns now. The morning star is really signifying or signaling a buy, right? So based on this daily time frame, you can see that price has tapped into this breaker block. We're expecting a buy to the upside from this breaker block to take out this particular high because we are anticipating that price is yet to tap this supply zone for sales to the downside. Don't know if you're following. So we're planning to take out this high on the fractal level of the monthly time frame, right? So this is what we are anticipating. Expecting to have this break of structure. So this is basically going to be our target. These are our targets now, right? But from the breaker block, we are already seeing reject reactions, signaling buys, right? So we have seen that candlestick pattern, which is one of the first confirmation. But we can't just execute based off candlestick pattern. Now, what I did was I dropped down to the 4-hour time frame to get things clearer, right? To make things clearer to you. And on the 4-hour time frame, if you study the structure very well, you see that this was the last break of structure to the downside. After that last break of structure to the downside, we saw a change of character to the upside over here, right? So I'm going to label that a change of character. So with this change of character, we are now sure that price reacting from this particular breaker block, giving us this change of character, is a signal that we are ready to buy higher, right? We're ready to go higher. Then, of course, you know that we want to now sell, we want to now buy from a demand zone. How are we going to mark that demand zone? The last bearish candle before the bullish move to the upside. So this candle was the last bearish candle before the bullish move to the upside. And you can see price came and mitigated it, right? It took out this low as liquidity. This particular pullback was the low it grabbed as liquidity. before the buys to the upside started. So this is going to be a liquidity. So based off only based off what we are seeing on the screen, we can just target this high, assuming on a 4 hour time frame we wanted to execute aggressively. Assuming on a 4 hour time frame we wanted to execute aggressively, this will be our target, right? This will be our very quick target. Then our entry will be over here, right? Our stop will be just below the swing low, this particular low. It's going to be a red line, right? Then our stop should be a little bit below it. And our take profit will be here at the target. That's giving us a 4 risk to reward, right? 4.2 risk to reward. This will be the trade on the 4 hour time frame, assuming we were to execute aggressively, right? But we are still going to be going with the top-down analysis, right? So let's assume we're not executing from this. We're going to drop down to the 1 hour time frame. When price trigger this particular demand zone, because that is a demand zone, that's a demand zone. So when price triggered that demand zone, okay, over here, we want to see a confirmation, right? We want to get a confirmation and that will warrant us to drop to the 1 hour time frame, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that over here, this was the last break of structure to the downside, right? After the last break of structure to the downside, we saw a shift of market structure to the upside over here, right? So that alone now has told us that we're going to look for the liquidity price was going to grab, then tap the demand zone, then buy to the upside. So if I was to be using key level entries, you know that my entry was going to be at this particular V-shaped key level over here. This was going to be my first entry. And this would be the liquidity price was going to grab before tapping my entry. Right, that's going to be my liquidity. That's going to tap, right? But to make it clear, let's drop down to the 15-minute time frame. That's why we're coming down all the way to the 15-minute time frame. So on the 15-minute time frame now, you'll be able to see that after this break, then we had the shift of market structure to the upside. Then we had all this. We can now refine this entry to this particular candle before the impulse move. It will be our OB in this scenario, right? So I refined our entry to this. Our stops, our stop loss is still going to be below this low, which is the swing low, right? So sorry, stop loss is going to be a red line. It's going to be a red line. Why this will be an order block, because I've refined it, right? It's going to be an order block, and this will be the liquidity price I was supposed to grab to buy to the upside, right? So what I did was I took my entry from here, placed my limit order here, put my SL rush right below here, and guess what? I targeted the high, right? Targeted this particular high. You can decide to target the mean. Excuse me. All right, so you can decide to target this mean high, which is on the 4 hours, that 4 hour high. Don't know if you remember this 4 hour high. It's going to be giving us a 17-hour risk to reward, right? Or you can decide to put your TP anywhere you like, right? So this was what I did, but fortunately, the first entry price did not tap me in. I expected that this pullback price was supposed to come tap me a little bit, and we enjoy this buy, right? But price did not. Assuming I wanted to do that, I'd have put my TP somewhere here, giving me 1 to 3, and I'll just close and watch whatever for any other result. But you can see that despite it gave us that missed entry, price later came back to it, and price later mitigated it over here. So it's where price triggered it. After the whole buy and all that, price later came back and triggered it and gave us massive profits. This is where I look to close the trade over here, right? Giving us 1:7, 1:7. So can you see how we did a very good top-down analysis right from, I can still decide to target over to this high. It's all left to me, but it's a swing trade because it's a 4-hour time frame trade. So it's going to take some time, but not so much time, like 2-3 days, highest a week, and we are TP. You understand? So that's just it. So this was the trade, but for you that's watching now, you probably didn't get this entry. There is another entry. There's another entry. Another entry is a breaker block entry. So stick with me so you can see it. Now, after price tapped into this other block over here, after we saw that, oh, this other block has been mitigated, right? We could spot the last break of structure to the downside. Okay, it's supposed to be a black line, right? Then we can see a break of structure to the upside, right? Then we saw how price broke structure with a very good impulsive move, right? Making this other block a failed order block. So this failed order block now becomes what? Now becomes a breaker block. It becomes a breaker block, and now you can still see that it also provided inducement liquidity before the breaker block. We always want to see that inducement liquidity. We always want to see that, right? Always want to see that. So that's our liquidity, and this is a very good point to buy again from. This is a very good point to buy again from on the 15-minute time frame. See how we already understand the narrative, and we know that we are buying GBP we are buying GBP we're also going to be looking for buys. So we're going to put our stop loss just a little bit below the breaker block, and I can decide to put my take profit, let's say TP1, first take profit at this particular high, right? So that's going to be our take profit one. Then I'll take profit one over here. Then I can decide to extend my profit if I want to. Can decide to extend my profit all the way to this particular high here. This particular high here. That's going to be my TP2, right? So you can see if I put it here, I'll be getting 5R. If I put it, I'll be getting 14R. It's all left to me. Do you understand? So this is basically the trade idea of GPS. So you can see how we came all the way from the monthly time frame to the weekly to the month to the daily, and we have landed at 15 minutes and I've seen our setup. So that's basically it. So we're going to be looking for buys. We're going to be looking for buys until we eventually, because we were previously coming from this particular breaker block to buy back to the upside. So for GU, my view on GBP we're going to be looking for buy continuations from here all the way up. Any buy setup you spot, just be riding it all the way up till we get to this high. So I think the rest of this year, GBP is going to be buying. That's my projection. It's going to be buying. Then probably by next year, towards February, whenever price gets to the supply zone, you can wait for a shift of market structure, change of character rather to the downside. Then next year, you start selling GBP depending on when it gets to the supply zone. But for now, you're on good buys on GBP right? Both on the swing and on the fractal, we are looking for buys on GBP. This is the setup. I also share the setup with my Telegram community. You can see it over here. I actually had a live session with them. We did this top-down analysis together, and I dropped a free setup for them, and some of them must have placed the entry and all that. We'll see. We really hope that price pulls back to tap us in. But anyways, I'm going to drop updates on how the trade later played out. I'm really optimistic on the trade. I myself have hopped on the trade, and I'm just waiting for the result of the trade. So this is it for the top down for the GBP. Thank you for watching up to this hour. Catch you on the next video. Please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on the notification bell, like, and please comment please, I need those comments and likes because it helps YouTube to, you know that my content is actually of value to you guys, and it will help them to push my content to more people, or a wider reach for more people to see. Do you understand? So just do well to like and comment and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I drop any video. Whenever I drop any video on YouTube, right? And if you have any questions about the top down analysis, whatever questions you have, all you need to do is ask me in the comment section. I will respond to every single comment. If you still want to reach me personally, head over to my bio. My link is there. You can join my Telegram. You can chat me up on WhatsApp. My link tree is basically on my bio. You can reach me wherever way you want, TikTok, Telegram, whatever, and I'll respond to you, and we can have that conversation. Right. So thank you for watching up to this time. See you on the next one.